Um, Thank you for joining us. Once again, we are meeting in classroom A, and we have secured this room for the next year at the Larkspur Community Center, hashtag Senior Center, whichever you want to call it. My name is James DeRofi. I am the board chair. The board wouldn't mind introducing themselves briefly, quickly.
Karen Johnson, Land Use Chair.
Jen Sawyer, social media.
Ross Tinting.
Brian Kennedy.
So as the last minute of the year, we're gonna do basically a summary of what we've done for the year so people know. We're gonna talk about some things that we've changed on the website. We're also gonna talk about some things moving forward regarding surveys and efforts to get more interaction with the public. Kim, I'm just gonna ask you, are vocals and everything good on our end? Thumbs up? Okay. That said, I will ask this multiple times, but right now, does anybody that's joining us online have anything that they'd like to add for public comments?
Yeah, I would. I'd like to just talk a little bit about what's been going on the improvements on Knott Road. I have a few concerns.
Go ahead.
Okay. So overall, I've enjoyed observing as I drive up and down Knott Road. Seems like several times every day. All the improvements that they've made. It's nice to see that they've got a pedestrian way, which appears to be both pedestrian and bicycle. Is that right?
So please define the area of Knott Road you're talking about. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, it's let's say between Bear Creek and Reed Market. On the west side, they've been putting in some curbing.
So you're talking about 27th Street, not Knott Road.
Okay, yeah, Knott Road. I mean, 27th Street, you're right. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's use path.
Yes, so that is the multi-use path. That is part of a Go Bond funding that was tied to Bear Creek and Pettigrew roundabout upgrade.
Okay.
And that does go from Bear Creek all the way to
Claremont.
well, technically it's gonna
Yeah, it
go
doesn't.
to Reed Market. It's not done yet.
No,
Yeah.
it goes past Reed Market, but it crosses, goes on the other side, past the library, and it terminates at Claremont Court.
Yes, okay.
Yeah,
Is that what you're referring to, Kim?
that is. So overall, I like what they're doing. It's good to see that those of us that don't like riding bicycles in the bike lanes that are part of the car pavement, where it's separated, kind of like they do over in Amsterdam. That's nice. And it's a good example of how it would be nice for them to strive for that type of design elsewhere where the real estate permits. Couple of concerns I have, and they're general in nature. One of them is I'd like to see that, let's call it a throughway. You know, it enables you to go all the way from Highway 97 and Baker all the way up to Butler Market. When it was originally designed, it was pretty fluid. You could drive that almost that entire length without ever stopping. That's a little bit of exaggeration, but
Not
it's
more.
more, let's call obstacles in the way. And I don't mean by physical obstacles. I mean, you know, things like traffic circles and traffic lights and whatnot.
Are you referring to the Parkway, Highway 97?
He's talking about Knott and 27th, all the way up to Bear Creek.
I'm just trying to make sure you're talking about through the center of town, what we currently call the Parkway, Highway 97.
No, so you can get off of Highway 97 northbound at Baker Road.
Baker Knott Road.
Mhm.
Going all the way around that
Mhm.
27th, right?
Up Knott Road, past the landfill, it turns into 27th Street.
So you're thinking of a bypass.
I think he's
Yeah.
referencing the infrastructure that's there
Okay.
now.
I'm just trying to, I need the map in my head so that, we're making sure we're on the same page.
I think
Yeah.
the bottom line answer to your question or comment is that there's gonna be a lot more obstruction on a lot more. There are gonna be a number of roundabouts installed, lots of housing, developments. There's gonna be, crosswalks. The days of yore when we could drive without slowing down from, 97 south to Bear Creek are long past and they're not coming back.
Yeah, well aware of all the development coming. This current project that is going on, to put the curbs and walkways in, things like that between Bear Market and Reed Market, or not Bear Market, Bear Creek and Reed Market. I see they missed out on some opportunities to preserve the uninterrupted traffic flow. For example, there were opportunities to put in left-hand turn lanes and or dedicated right-hand turn lanes. The real estate was available to do it, and they didn't. And so, we can now find ourselves in situations where we come to a stop waiting for someone to make a left turn or a right turn. And so those are examples of opportunities that were missed in this project. Now, they probably said, well, we considered those. That's more cost on grading, asphalt, things like that. But my thinking is the city needs to get out of the habit of minimizing improvements. When they make an improvement, it doesn't cost an awful lot more to do it really right. And so what I'm thinking is the decision makers that make these decisions on design need to be influenced by maybe our neighborhood association on what can be done differently going forward as these new real estate developments come in, so that traffic flow continues to stay relatively fluid.
Heard and noted. And on that note, I just want to give a brief history. The Old Farm Board started at least 10 years ago
Yeah,
advocating for, hypothetically, that pathway that's on the one side of 27th Street. We
I will
asked them to do it when they did the Southeast Sewer Interceptor, just so you know. And we've been advocating it since before that and then afterwards. This city does do some things in a weird way. I'm not going to defend them. We're going to keep fighting for you, but I want you to know that we got shot down when they did the Southeast Sewer Interceptor because it wasn't called a road project. It was called a sewer project. And now this project also isn't a road project. It is a path project.
yeah,
Hopefully, moving forward, as we go from Reed Market south and around to Highway 97 and Knott Road, we will have more of a say, and hopefully we can get the developers and the city to work in a better fluid long-term concept rather than doing piecemeal by piecemeal.
yeah. So as these real estate development projects come at us, like Stevenson Ranch and whatnot, I'd volunteer, and maybe we could get others in our district to volunteer to review these developments, especially in light of their impact on Knott Road / 27th Street. So I'm planting a seed there.
It is a great seed. I want it to be a tall ponderosa.
Yeah. So maybe at some point when it's appropriate, we could organize not organize, maybe or one of our annual meetings or something, we could have that as a topic and see a
Okay.
raise of people that might want to volunteer to be reviewers. You guys have.
Hang on, Brian, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think you're making really good points. One of the things that is not necessarily public right now, but we have been working with the city of Bend on a city offered roundtable, the specific topic of which is Southeast Bend. And we've been asking the city to provide specific details and timelines for all the things you're talking about, that to the extent that they know them. So there are going to be a number of roundabouts added. Obviously, we're talking about the Reed Market overpass bridge for 2 years, shutting down Reed Market. There's a lot of things coming. And so I think you're on the right track. And we are going, as a board, we're going to ask probably sooner than later for that kind of feedback, because the city has not yet nailed down a date. We believe it's going to happen in February. We believe it'll be happening right here behind us in the room at Larkspur, at which point we will be asking for input from residents. What do you want to get from the city while we've got them here? Because the whole topic is going to be Southeast Bend. And so these issues that you're raising are perfect for that. So I would get as many of those into, concise questions or comments. And I think in the very near term, we're going to be soliciting those so that we can forward them to the city. This is what the residents of the Old Farm District want to get out of the roundtable, so they can come prepared with the answers.
Okay.
Literally in the next 8 weeks, we're gonna be asking you, just give us this information so we can forward to the city. And the roundtable is gonna be multiple city councilors, if not all of them, as well as multiple city staff and engineers. So that'll be perfect. Your wish is gonna happen a lot sooner than you thought.
It'll be a good opportunity. It will be a good opportunity to directly interact with the city.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will be able to interact.
And I
Okay,
would
good.
encourage you to talk to your fellow neighbors. If you're in an HOA, share it. We can't reach every household, but word of mouth can. So if people just know this roundtable is coming, they can start thinking about it. Because it's going to be kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Are you signed up for our newsletter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yes?
Kim and his wife have been extremely active with our board for a
Wheat.
long time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we satisfied, just a quick question, are we satisfied that the design of the Ferguson 27th Street roundabout and the Ferguson 15th Street roundabout, are we satisfied that those designs are adequate, i.e. 2 lanes versus 1 lane?
So just so you know, the Ferguson and 15th got approved for the engineers to start working on the design. In a few months, there will be public requests for
Okay.
input on that one. As far as Ferguson and 27th Street, that has been pushed off. There is
Okay.
some, the developers are trying to make the city pay for it. The city wants the developers to pay for it. And if you read the master plans that have been submitted, and we try to put all of those online, it will be very interesting to see exactly what happens on that particular intersection going forward.
Yeah, and they can only do one at a time. So the Ferguson and 15th will come first,
Within the next 14 months.
either late next year or at the worst spring of 27, which means that the 27th and Ferguson roundabout would be after that. So we have more time for a variety of reasons to discuss what that needs to look like.
All right, well, thanks for the more than 2 minutes of my time.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Does anybody else online have anything like to ask or add? Nope. Would you like to add any public comments? You just here to take it all in. All righty. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. Before we basically get into the realm of everything, I just want to say thank you to the people that do read our newsletter, the people that do submit answers to surveys, specifically to this board. And I see we are joined tonight by Dirk Benson. And for those that don't know, we have been doing a lot of upgrades to our website. Dirk is sort of an unofficial board member because he's a busy person who's enjoying the fun golden years of his life. But he has offered to give us lots and lots of his time to assist us. So Brian, Ross, Jennifer, Karen, you guys go way above and beyond most people ever do in any sort of volunteer organization. And we are volunteers. The city tasks us with an interesting concept, and we definitely go above and beyond. I do believe the city councils, and I know the city staff appreciates it, but I want you all to know that I appreciate it. And I know sometimes it gets a little weird. We don't know what's going on. We are doing our best. So I personally just want to say thank you. Thank you all. As far as
Welcome, thank you for
Likewise, James.
this crazy circus.
Yeah.
So,
on that note, I would like to highlight one of the, I think, is one of the big wins for the Old Farm for the 2025 year. And that is, and this is a bit controversial, but we brought to light the reality of what is going on in development regarding not just the southeast area of town, but also the northeast area of town, and some of the differences between what has been told to the general populace and what is actually happening. The Bulletin, Clayton Frankie has been doing lots of articles regarding some of it. Some of them they are controversial, but we are talking about how to build a city, and the decisions that get made today are going to affect generations of what Bend looks like. Peyton from Central Oregon Daily News has also been bringing these up. So we have those stories, some of them on our website. And if you have any questions, it is important. And this isn't about micromanaging the development, but the way a city needs to be built is with public input so that we all know what's going on. So that way, when future bonds come up, we know why the city may ask for 50 million or 20 million or 190 million. We shouldn't be surprised when we see a bunch of bulldozers level an area. This is all part of what we do. And literally, we have been working with city councilors as well as state representatives the last 6 months. And we are hoping to correct some flaws that past state legislation has created. First, people thought we were delusional, crazy. And then as more and more people started to delve into it themselves, they realized that, yeah, we did find some flaws in the state legislation. The city council is going to be talking about that either the 14th or the 19th of January. I'm not sure the exact date yet, but so I say all of this because yes, citizen input matters.
it'll be on our website.
And it will be on our newly designed website under the meetings and events section, which is going to be on our front page, and our newly updated calendar. So
There now.
and those are all active now. And if people have questions, the amount of volunteer hours that some of our people have put in is just shocking. It is great. That is what I just want to say as the board chair. If any of the board members have anything to add to what I just said, or any of their own, anything regarding the 2025 year.
I think you just should flesh out that theme. I mean, because it is directly coming from our district, where changes in state law had serious consequences when it comes to building residential and commercial and affordable in our district, changing what many people who live and bought in this area for those amenities thought was coming, and it's not coming anymore. And so we, by raising the issue and people telling us, no, can't do anything about it, can't do anything about it. Well, guess what? You can, and we have. And from being told to basically go away, this is a non-issue, you might be able to update us, Karen. Do you think this is going to make the short session, or do we know?
I don't know. It's specifically, the problem is the state legislature has now allowed affordable housing to go onto commercial land. And apparently in many cities, in Portland particularly, they have old commercial sites that like to redo the buildings into residential affordable housing. Apparently, a lot of cities do not do what Bend is doing. They have the land to do master plans. That is to say, walkable planned communities where commercial is close to where people live, so they don't have to drive everywhere. To be able to walk to a restaurant, or to a pub, to a grocery store. And the state legislature, without thinking about us in particular, has allowed affordable housing to go on commercial. And this is a big deal. We thought we were going to have a grocery store at the corner of 15th and Knott. And now at least 4 acres is going to be affordable housing, not leaving very much for other shops that people can walk to. When we first raised this, our state representative suggested that there were ways to get around it. And we ultimately demonstrated that there is no way to get around this. The state legislature has to change the law. They have a special session that's supposed to be limited to very specific issues. Whether they'll be able to change the law would require educating everyone in the legislature to our problem. I'm not optimistic that that's going to happen.
I would like to clarify. There's nobody on this board that is against affordable housing. There's nobody on this board that is against the idea of the densification, all in the concept of keeping our forests national forests. We want to keep our farmlands farmlands. Every single person on this board is fine with those goals. We are having a serious issue, though, with some loopholes that have been created and the methods, which have basically, where we had master plans that were going to build complete communities, we are now being told, just like Petrosa on the northeast side of town, that was a complete community, was only a concept, and there was never any intention for that to happen. And the only way that we as citizens can prevent this is to stay informed, to continue to talk to our state legislatures, to continue to talk and work with our city council.
And what's particularly frustrating about the affordable housing issue is that so often people who have the sort of income that qualifies them for affordable housing do not have a lot of transportation options. For them to be able to not have to use their car, to be able to walk to a grocery store, is part of what makes their life or increase the quality of their life. And I think that's one of the main frustrations, that they're not thinking about the quality of the life of people who are going to be living there. And I think it's a huge oversight.
And I think it's a big issue, not just for the loss of potential commercial space that we've already mentioned, but in order for that to not continue throughout the Southeast Bend area and all the development that's going to happen in the Elbow and along 27th and Knott, the law has to change, or it can just keep replicating itself. And then we end up being an island out on the fringe of town that has no amenities. So the no chance of being a complete community if there's no space left to put the things in that.
Will be the most dense suburbia in Oregon.
Will there be an opportunity for the public to provide input to the state legislator on this matter?
Well,
Good.
one of the things,
That could be a possible survey.
going back to
Yeah,
our website, we will be holding regular and ongoing surveys on the website for feedback. So
Let's-
one of the things that.
Let's table that for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying to the point that the city representatives are very keen to getting feedback. So one of the things we're trying to do is create a process through which we can provide that. And yes, I think that's one of the means. And also with the roundtable again, another opportunity for Southeast Bend residents to get very clear information and provide it back to them.
So to keep us on track, does anybody else have anything regarding 2025 other than the topic that we just discussed? That they'd like to say, wait, we've done a bad job or a good job, or we should focus in more on for 26?
We did a terrible job on recruiting.
Yes.
We have the same people at the beginning of the year that we had at the beginning of the year, and we still have 2 board positions.
We are looking for more board members as always, and even if you can't be a board member, but you can just volunteer time. There is so much work to do that we can find something that you may enjoy so if you know anybody that's interested, please.
Yeah, and it's a great opportunity to work with, in some cases, some of your state legislature and others, city officials and city staff. It's great to interact with them and have a real impact on the development around Bend.
Okay, next topic, we're just gonna do some old business, and it's gonna be a short topic. And Karen, we were gonna have you discuss the Union Master Plan, but it's been tabled by the developer itself, so I'll let you fill people in on that.
To a bit of background, I think everyone's familiar with the large open spaces you're heading south on 15. It's right below the canal and up from the Murphy Bridge and east of the railroad. Polish applied for development there, and they need 10% open space, which is 10% of the 45 acres. They want to use as open space the actual area over the canal itself, which is to say an area that half the year is a fast-flowing river that you do not want to let children close to, and the other half is a lava bed of rocks that no one could possibly walk on. The Planning Commission voted to decline the application by a 4-2 vote. And one of the chief reasons was whether to allow open space over the canal itself to count. We were prepared to testify before the city council in support of the Planning Commission's rejection of this application. And to our surprise, the developer withdrew the hearing before the city council. We don't know why. We'd love to know why, and we don't. I asked the planner, who is Nicholas Leonards, why and what happens next. Is there any time limit that they have to resubmit the hearing? And there is no particular time limit. All we know is that Polish is not going to be appearing before the city council on December 17th. And we don't have any intel. What's really going on?
We will keep you informed through our website.
And it's on the
And
website.
when we find out that meeting, we will put it in our meeting and events section. Do we have any other, I know we haven't really discussed it. And right now we're having a problem with communications and the city council. But another major master plan was submitted. And I don't even know if we were even asked to even comment on it or anything, but essentially off of Knott Road. I really wish I could remember the name. I'm having
You're talking Country Club.
no, I'm talking about that's gonna connect with Magnolia.
Oh, yes, the rain tree. Yeah, there is a hearing.
Rain Tree? Rain Tree.
That's called Rain Tree. There's
That's
a
up
hearing.
the street
It,
there.
it's gonna be in the southeast elbow area. And there's gonna be a hearing on it, I think, tomorrow. Or it should be on our calendar. A hearing on the application. We'll be sure there's, I get it, I have it at home. I'll get it on for you, be sure it's on the calendar. The southeast elbow is getting a lot of application, a lot of activity. happening there. How much of it, it seems to be a lot of activity that's actually
Yeah, and
happening.
that particular is they're asking for a few
145
hundred
houses.
single-family homes.
And church property, there's gonna be a church there.
Well, that's
Different
separate, but there's also a church has purchased 37 acres of land adjacent to that. And we're gonna try to be following that.
Mhm.
So let's get that, if that meeting is tomorrow, I say we send out a reminder to people.
Yeah.
Is it
Because
from
it's gonna
one
be going to
to
the
two?
planning commission.
Um,
One
Yes.
o'clock in the afternoon. is
Yeah.
The time of that meeting.
Yeah.
That is not convenient for a lot of people.
Where?
I mean. Here's it, like, just show virtual attendance is possible.
Who's
It
holding
doesn't
the
say.
I think it's a city council.
meeting?
Is it city council or the planning commission?
This doesn't say. City,
City council really meets.
Hearings officer recommendation to city council. Instructions can be found here. Oh,
I have the notice at home, of course.
We will post that, but,
Yeah.
once again, it's not that we're opposed to the development, but they're part of the Oregon Constitution is public input for development moving forward. And right now, there's sort of a big gray spot about how the entire southeast area and Stevens Ranch, Stevens Tract is being developed. We were trying to remedy that gray spot.
this is happening at Bend City Hall in the city council chambers
At one,
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
we will put that on the calendar as soon as this meeting is done, if not earlier.
It will also be live streamed on YouTube. I wonder if they're recording it.
Well, if it's on
Yes, the
YouTube,
city-
it'll
On
the
be
city
YouTube, it's
records
recorded. Okay.
And I'll be at that hearing.
Anything else regarding that topic? Okay, that is the case. There are even more master plans and changes that are going on. We will do our best to keep you up to date. But now we're gonna switch gears for the last little bit of the meeting, and we are gonna talk about surveys. So we were asked by the planning commission to basically put a survey out. Ross, do you have some of that information? I know that Dirk sent it out in a format yesterday
for on the actual survey.
on the actual survey of the
I don't
results.
have that ready right now.
Oh. Hey, Dirk, you're online.
Yeah. If you go to our website, /surveys, you'll see it.
They have opinions about Ben's growth. The city wants to hear them. That one.
Correct.
Got it.
See, that's how new our server, our website is. That
Right.
our own board is navigating the changes as we speak in real time.
Give me a minute and I'll share my screen.
So what we're gonna be doing is, we're gonna start asking for public input on all sorts of topics moving forward. Basically, we're gonna be putting out a survey and then we're gonna be posting the results, and hopefully we're gonna be doing this every 7 to 10 weeks for the 2026 year. This is the last survey of this year that we've asked people to reach out for. We've held a few others throughout the year. I think this is the 5th one that we've been asked to work with the public. I have zero ability to read that from this, so Ross, I'm going to hand the mic to you and say, if you could just highlight some of the comments. What was the question that was asked? And then we are going to be sending this to the planning commission.
Sure. So the first question was, what do you like about Ben's land use policies in this survey? And in case you want to take this survey, you can just go to oldfarmben.com. And near the upper right corner, you'll see a link for all of our surveys where, at least if they're active, you can go and take them. This one I think is closed at this point, but we'll post another one shortly. Some responses to that include, it's overwhelming. However, I can say, please hang in there. Parks and Rec, keep the open space coming. It's good. I know Parks and Rec is a huge part of why everybody loves to live and visit Bend. Another resident commented, preventing sprawl, protecting farmland and forest land. encouraging infill and better infrastructure inside the urban growth band. It divides the town, rich versus poor, pack in more people, but puts the kind of cheaper stuff on the east side and the wealth on the west. And how about making that a little more intermingled? By the way, I've not censored these yet. In case
We are not supposed to censor them. That is not the goal of the old farm.
But I don't think you can read them all, can you?
No, there's,
So we should just
as
do
I'm
this.
scrolling down, this is gonna end up being like doom scrolling and we'll never get to the bottom.
So, but that's what we will have.
But there are multiple questions in here. We'll also be coming up with ways to summarize these results over time. But this was just done over the last, basically couple of weeks. Another question, we posted a survey for, included, do you have concerns about Bend's growth, its land use policies or practices? It's a lot of growth, too much growth, inadequate planning for traffic growth or infrastructure. A lot of that's understandable. And then another question, the third one, do you have ideas that you would like to see implemented? Obviously, we're looking to get more and more input from our residents. And so please, consider filling out these surveys as you see them over time. And we will be reviewing these as time permits or as a certain schedule allows with city staff. Anything else?
I was just gonna say regarding this one, this was on behalf of the planning commission. So we will be sending all of this information to the planning commission. But I want everybody to know there will be more of these going forward and they're going to be on various topics. And the conversation that we're going to have right now is what should the next survey be? And if anybody online has a thought.
Real quick, James, I just wanted to add that I did reach out to Erin from the Planning Commission and I sent her a link to these results. She responded that because, their Planning Commission meetings are overlapping with ours, she wouldn't be able to attend this one, but she was going to share those results with the Planning Commission.
Excellent. Good. Thank you.
Thanks, Dirk.
We had a survey in mind.
Yes, well, Jen was alluding to something. You were liking what she was saying.
That was in regards to the, providing input to the state legislator regarding,
That could be the possible survey topic.
I think that.
Would you like to
input-
provide?
Well, I thought we had the one idea that was a little simpler to execute for a person, but I can't remember what exactly it was.
We're talking about what needed, what pollinator.
Oh, that's, on the list. of things. We're
I
actually-
should have talked about it.
We'd like to implement one fast
Yeah.
right away, but we had one that we talked about in a meeting last week that could serve to get us through the holidays.
Yes. Well, we had discussed the concept of asking people regarding their thoughts of open space. The problem is we've decided to table that concept for temporarily because we don't know the delay. There's a possibility that Polish and Ward
Doesn't
family
matter.
might, which we could still do it.
Well, I think I would be interested in your feedback too, but the concept that Karen alluded to is, in these larger planned developments where they're required to have 10% of the space allocated for open space, the definitions of which could be talked about. But to Karen's point, a canal, we all know, is quite dangerous for almost anyone when it's operative. And then it's likewise very difficult to utilize in any meaningful fashion when there's no
It's
water.
impossible.
Yeah, so
I live on a canal. Even deer do not walk across the canal. There's no-
deer don't, you
Yeah.
can't go there, so.
Yeah, it's impossible to do.
So the question, I guess, to me, still has relevance, irrespective of the union master plan, is if you have an opinion about what constitutes open space in a major development, and should Bend allow space that really can't be used for anything other than just if there's no other human being there, is that make sense? And or should
So
be,
that's a possible that's one possible survey.
What the planning commission focused on, if you look at the plan, in addition to the open space along the canal, they want to count open spaces as trails, like that cut through the development. But as the planning commission said, there is no place to commit a community for people to gather, not even to have a little playground, with some park benches that the definition says it's space that is of use to people. The question is, what does use consist of? And
So hypothetically, it almost sounds like they think that playing in the street is
Well,
is a
yeah,
good
yeah,
concept
yeah.
of open space.
yeah, because you do use the street. But I like the planning commission. Their concern is that it should have some connectivity for the people who live in that community. And I think that's a good argument to make.
And these decisions are not just for this one master plan, but it is literally every development going forward for the rest of Bend now moving forward, so.
Well, my personal bugaboo is the fact that, and using this development again as an example, Ross and I were in this meeting, and when we asked the traffic engineer if they had taken into consideration these known developments right in that area, including the Caldera Ranch development, which is 721 doors, I believe, and the answer was no. They did not factor in known development in terms of the traffic load that's going to be using that same space. And I think it's crazy to call that a traffic plan if you haven't included every known element or even reasonably projected element in a master plan area such as.
So that would be a different question.
No, I mean, it might just be how do you feel that all known or reasonably projected traffic impact should be included in a study?
You know,
Well, once again, I would say that's a separate question that open space.
Yeah.
No.
I almost would want to phrase that as, currently been plans for X number of years out, so let's say it's 3, or else what's being developed this year, something along those lines. It seems pretty short. What would be a target outlook or number of years in the future that you think infrastructure should be developed for in and around Bend as a growing city?
So we have, just so the public knows, we have an urban growth boundary and we're supposed to have a 20-year land availability. The last 2 extensions, both Stevens Tracts and Caldera Ranch, were supposedly eating into that next urban growth boundary expansion. The city manager said not even 3 weeks ago that the population growth of Bend has decreased from projections. It was only like 1.7%. We're still growing. We're just not growing as fast. And in the next 2 years, the city is going to be doing start of a new urban growth boundary plan, as well as a new transportation system. And
What's the
I-
typical duration that takes? Analysis is done.
those processes, I would just say a median is around 2 years. The couple urban growth boundaries ago, the developers got into an argument with the city of Bend and it basically sat in courts for about 6 years. But that still didn't mean that the 20-year objective got pushed out. It just means that the implementation of the 20-year objective got pushed out.
So, can I offer a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
So in terms of surveys, I believe personally that this is one of perhaps our major charges is to get the input of the public. And we've talked about, the board and I have talked about gathering input from the public on a regular basis, whether that's every 2 weeks, month, 2 months, I'm not sure. But why not gather as much public input as we can via these surveys? Provide that input to the city on relevant topics.
No, I agree.
And I think that is our goal. I think we're just trying to figure out what are those relevant topics. So maybe we need to have a brainstorming session to come up with those. I'm not sure.
Tonight we wanted to come up with a survey that we could execute in the short term.
Or at least narrow it down to 3 and then have a brainstorming session and then.
Well, we don't have a survey. I think that we should have as a goal that there's always a survey up there.
I don't think anybody disagrees with you, Brian, but this last survey literally just went inactive last night.
Okay.
We just didn't have one ready.
No, I don't, but that's what I'm saying. What if, I think the one that you mentioned that we talked about before is, how do you think that the city of Bend should consider irrigation canals as part of open space? It's a simple question. And maybe people think that that's a great, the open space is a great, that qualifies, but that, I mean, I think it informs some decision-making that might come down the road in terms of how.
Can I ask the board and anybody online or present? If you were to answer a survey, would you rather it be a large topic with sort of really crazy general answers, or do you want us to focus in on more on a specific topic? Like
I think it should be very focused and brief,
Okay,
and with a goal of having some kind of measurable metrics in it.
okay,
I agree that it should be brief to the point. We are a bit fatigued out here, and the shorter the sweeter. Easier would be great for us. Very disgruntled old people.
I agree. I don't think they need to be. I don't think you have to let one expire before asking another one.
okay,
True.
that's fine. That's something we haven't discussed. This is all new.
We can run them in parallel. Might want to limit it to like 3 or 4 or 5, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to have a separate meeting to talk about the logistics of this, because it affords so many opportunities. But I do think that my personal priority is that we come out of this meeting giving Dirk something to work with that he can post.
Okay.
And I think for this one, because it's, we're gonna be working through the bugs and, how to do it, I would suggest we make it simple. And personally, I'm gonna suggest we go with the canal question, make it easy.
Yeah, to be simple and focus on one topic makes it easier to tabulate the results.
Okay.
also.
Narrow is good, small sample size.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Jim. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Howdy, Jim.
Hi, folks. Yeah, I couldn't make it tonight, but I'm listening in. On the open space question, I'm not sure people really understand what it all means. And so if you're going to ask that kind of question, I would suggest providing a little explanation of maybe what open space is supposed to be and what the controversy is on it, so that people can kind of consider it better. That's
Yeah, we'll work, if we go with that, we would definitely go with a little bit of preamble and just say.
that's good input. Just so everybody knows, the way we're gonna be doing this moving forward is the surveys are gonna be on our website, but we're gonna be advertising them and marketing them on social media and then directing people to the website. And that way people can share with their friends, however you may have heard about it, whether it's on Nextdoor, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on Instagram, or whether it's just your friends were talking about it. That's fine. And then direct people to the website for the surveys. Then we're always going to be posting and sharing the results. If it turns out that we start getting harassed, we may have to, I don't want to say this, but redact offensive statements. I'd rather let the public see what people are responding to, but if people are gonna be
Obnoxious.
obnoxious or
Anything that's
rude,
going, yeah, anything that would limit the effectiveness of this tool, I think is part of what we need to create the policies. In addition to the sequencing and all the other stuff, we need to have a set of really easy to understand, behavioral guidelines or limitations that does not end up where so many of the platforms out there are today.
board agrees with that concept. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I mean, these are things that if people want to know why we edit something, it's good that we have a public conversation of why something might be, highlighted black. So. So does you guys want to go with the open space? I mean, is that where we're at? I mean, Ross, Jen, do you guys have any other thoughts of what somebody might want to talk about? I mean, we've only got 5 minutes left. We can figure out the details after tonight, but if we want to have this as what we're going to have going forward, we can decide right now.
Well, I think we just need to decide the topic. We're not going
Okay.
to format it tonight.
Okay,
So what are like the biggest pressing topics we have going on right now? But we've got open space, we've established that. We've got communications from like land use communications basically is another big one.
the legislation, what the city council is gonna be talking about at the beginning or at the middle of next month. That I think is the only other thing that would be more
Okay.
pressing.
That's the conversion of land.
No, the city council is basically gonna be needing to talk about Senate Bill 8 and House Bill 3395. So if we want to present them with information moving forward, we need to craft a survey for that and then let it go live for 3 or 4 weeks and then give it to the city, you know.
I think in terms of importance and also immediacy, that the legislative change really needs to be pushed. It's just.
How do we do
it
that?
Destroys our master plans.
How do we do it in a survey that is understandable? It's such a complex issue.
Well, I think,
Wait,
well,
We
it
can
has.
come up with the how. We don't need to come up with the how in the next 6 minutes, right?
As soon as you tell people, I mean, as soon as we put out the word that some of that land is gonna disappear into housing as opposed to commercial, everyone in that area said, we wanted a grocery store. I think people immediately understood.
we did a partial survey regarding what complete communities, what was the one too? We just sort of did a general ask.
I think it was complete communities, yeah.
But that, yeah, it wasn't a survey, it was a general ask.
Just a
Please
general
write-
ask.
Yeah, right in the board. So, yeah, I mean, if you put like a little synopsis of
Mhm.
the issue and then
Mhm.
put survey questions
And,
based on. the
and
synopsis.
consequences. We could talk specifically about Petrosa and the Easton plan. I mean, that's where people actually expected something to go and now it may not happen. And that's got people riled up.
State overriding community, city and county plans.
Yeah.
Basically, the planning departments, right? They're overriding what. planning
State
department's trying to
legislation
do.
completely overruled what the people had been working for.
Precisely.
Yeah, not necessarily intentionally.
Correct.
I think no one had any clue as a consequence to people, to towns like Bend that have a lot of open space that they're doing master plans for.
Sure, they were looking at Portland, Gresham.
Yeah.
They were looking at basically taking old wasted commercial zone land and rehabilitating it for housing purposes. They never considered the fact that it was gonna be used,
Yeah, it's a
because if.
laudable goal.
If
for
you
the-
look at the Easton extension, literally the land immediately adjacent was bare and was able to hold the affordable housing. So once again, we're not.
Still is.
Affordable housing. That land is still available.
It's got stub outs, but yeah, it's still.
So, okay, so if that's the case, I'm just gonna ask the board, since we're coming to time, do we do open space or do we do something regarding the cities?
I agree with Karen. I think we should focus on the city planning piece.
Yeah, that is a big.
Complete communities.
Mhm.
Especially
The
if
whole
the
city.
published backed off on that month.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Mhm.
We probably have another month or two to
Open space.
figure out the open space issue.
For all we know, college is gonna say, oh, we made a mistake when we designed the whole thing. Unlikely,
That might be.
but who knows?
Okay, so if that's the case, then
That's fine.
that, good, all right, we've got general consensus.
I have one question.
Yeah,
Is the issue whether or not there are loopholes in state legislation that let them produce affordable housing over commercial development and open space? Is that at issue? Is that the biggest issue?
No,
I think it's a case of unintended consequences.
Unintended consequences. Well, for example, like down on 15th and Knott, we had 10 acres of commercial zone space. Around it are 17.5 acres of high-density zone residential units. And there's a ton of space to put that affordable housing. Why put it on the only commercial space within half a mile? That's the frustration, and I think it affects the quality of people who are living in the affordable housing.
So,
the closest grocery store is what, 2.5, 3 miles away?
so Dirk, that doesn't answer your question. But at this point,
It does not. So my question is, are the developers using a legislative loophole to get around
yes,
building the master communities that they've pitched for the sake of selling more of affordable housing?
they're not doing it for the sake of selling more affordable housing. They're doing it for the sake of
Building more housing.
building more housing
Being able to
and
make money.
cashing in on land sooner than later.
And the reason I ask that question is, are we making surveys to provide input to the city or to our state legislators?
If we go with this survey, which we just agreed, then we're going to be presenting it to the city council with hopefully 2+ weeks for them to then. We will also share it with our state legislatures, but it will be up to the city council itself and the city's lobbyists to approach the state legislature. All we can do as the public is say, hey, this is a serious issue. We want you to address it.
And I
Okay,
kind of disagree a little bit. I think it's both.
Can I just,
Basically, yes.
agree
to
with you,
answer your
Rob.
question, Dirk.
I think it's both. I think it's pressure on both.
Okay.
I just want to interject. So we have a guest here who is a property owner directly affected by the situation that we're talking about. And so I just want to take a second, as a property owner who may have had expectations based on things that may have been communicated to you, do you see this in a different light? Is there any other question or results or information that you would like to see the board develop feedback on?
Yes, no. So full disclosure, my wife's a realtor, and part of why we purchased where we purchased originally when we moved to Bend was kind of, it's going to become the northwest crossing of Bend again. And that was what she was sold by the other real estate professionals, not knowing that Polish either opted to, or as it has come to light now, from what I've been told, that the commercial developer that they sold it to opted to take that option. But regardless, there's not going to be the commercial development that there once was. And yes, that's going to impact the value of that property and why I originally purchased that property. So yes, I'm disappointed. Yes, I see that it's legal, and had I done maybe all of my research, perhaps that's on me, but it's still an unfortunate consequence of what I was originally sold.
Is there any, since we're talking about surveys, is there anything that you're hearing here that how you might frame it differently than what we're talking about to elicit?
I think just that the state option is, kind of unintentionally, well, and that would be leading them, but my perception is that the state is unintentionally, or I don't know, superseded the county, the city community development plans that were going forward. And I mean, the state knows a lot of good about a lot of things, but not so much in the narrow aspects of these planned communities. Cities as a whole certainly know what's better for them than the state.
Would you be willing to help us craft what we were gonna put out to the public? You can say no, it's fine.
I mean, I'm happy to, if you want to shoot an email in my direction, I'm happy to share my email address and say, hey, this sounds great, or no, that's completely off topic.
Okay. So once again, I often get harassed about staying off topic and timing and things like that, as I am right now. So I'm gonna wrap up this meeting for the year. We are gonna be still communicating with everybody by way of emails and newsletters and things like that. If you have any questions, reach us through contacts. Please check out our new website. People have spent a lot of time looking at it.
There's good stuff on there.
There's good stuff on there. We're gonna sign off. Have a happy holidays. Stay safe.
Thank you.